I know Vivash for many years. He was a social activist, a journalist in Mumbai. But I lost contact with him, and suddenly we met each other in Shanghai in 2003 when I had accompanied our Prime Minister, Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee. And I was very happy to see an Indian journalist working for a Chinese paper. The need to promote people-to-people contacts between India and China, the need to promote dialogue as a vehicle of friendship between India and China is exactly what we have been thinking at ORF. We are two most populous countries in the world. We are inheritors of the two oldest civilizations in the world. And in the 21st century, we are also among the most important countries in the world. So how can we allow the present state of distance and alienation between our two countries? We are of course aware that there are problems. We also have a dispute, a border dispute. This cannot be denied. But as two mature nations, civilizational nations, we should be confident of resolving all problems, all differences through dialogue. And who can really bring strength to dialogue than citizens who have the greatest stake in peace? The whole purpose of peace, cooperation between India and China should not be left only to bureaucrats, only to diplomats, only to politicians. Of course, amongst politicians, among diplomats, there are very good people, and Mr. Jan and the new Consul General, we've had the privilege of knowing them. I can also tell you so many Indian diplomats who have worked in China, who know the reality. So we need to strengthen the voice of peace, the voice of cooperation. Already at the level of commerce and business, the ties are getting strengthened day by day by day. China is our largest trade partner, but that's not enough. At the level of citizens, we should know each other better. And that's the purpose for which we have formed this forum, that very soon the Observer Research Foundation will have the privilege of organizing an exhibition, of course with the collaboration of the consulate, an exhibition to display the 60 years of diplomatic relations between India and China. And we welcome you all to visit the exhibition and also participate in an event that will accompany the exhibition. With these words, friends, I welcome you once again. Welcome our dear friend, Vivash Mukherjee.
I arrived in Shanghai on September 20th, 1999, but a part of my baggage didn't make the trip. After making the usual rounds of complaints and filling up those scary forms, I met up with the person who had come to receive me at the airport. She was in the late 20s and was visibly relieved to see me after being forced to wait for a couple of hours. I didn't have a cell phone then. I explained the reasons for my delay, and she said she was a bit worried that she had missed me because she had not met an Indian before. This is in 1990. I have no qualms in saying here that I have had a very eventful and interesting time in Shanghai and in China. I have interacted with them at every level, at work of course, but also at travels, at weddings, seminars, universities, hospitals, and even at the marketplace. It was because of them and their enormous support that I managed to put together a short film on Tagore in China. It was a subject that was of personal interest to me, not commercial. They were equally of massive help when they helped me to dig out old records and files from the archives and libraries on this Gurudwara that still exists there, but is now a residence. Half the material in the archives was in old classical Chinese, and it wasn't easy for them to decipher. At one point, they told me that I should look out for a Japanese in Shanghai. It might just help. Both the countries share the same script. For me, the faith they have in the party, the Communist Party, and those in power is both astounding as well as frightening. They may waver a bit, but I don't think it would fall as some experts would have us believe. I'm not the only one to have such views. I speak to many people, people of different nationalities, and quite a few Indians as well. And most of them seem to share similar thoughts, with a few buts and ifs. But for some reason, that is not the picture we get when we read all the stories about China in the world media. The Chinese awareness of India is also limited to Rabindranath Tagore and Mahatma Gandhi. There is even some confusion over Gandhi. And of course, Raj Kapoor and his immensely popular Awara. On an average, 8 out of 10 taxi drivers will be willing to hum Awala Hu gladly to you if you have the ear for it. Of late, there is an acceptance of India's prowess in information technology. But by and large, the level of ignorance among people is a bit unnerving. That all Indians can sing and dance, and that we are a country of countless gods, goddesses, festivals, temples, and tradition. But this level of ignorance isn't one-sided though. People in India seem to be as clueless and disoriented about the giant neighbor with whom we share a very long border, 3,500 kilometer border. NDF, DMK, AIDMK, CPI, CPM, this is all very confusing to them. How does one explain to them? I gave up. One of them even asked me, why is it called West Bengal if it's in the east coast of India? It's true. So there is a lot of explanation to be done. They would prefer to deal with one entity just as they do back home. A bilateral exchange of ideas and setting up a friendship society could also forge a better understanding and appreciation of the other. I was amazed to read a recent article by a noted Sino-India historian, Professor Tan Chung, who said the English word China actually originated in India. I was not aware of that. The Chinese, as you know, refer to their own country as Chungo, but it is China for the rest of the world. Professor Tan quotes from Kautilya's Arthashastra, which was composed in the 4th century BC, where there is a reference to China Bhumi, or the country of China. And he says that is how people know about what Tagore said at the opening of China Bhavan way back in 1937. Not only showed a daring vision to the world, but it's something that we all probably believe in. He spoke of an ancient pledge implicit in our past. The pledge to maintain the intercourse of culture and friendship between our people and the people of China, an intercourse whose foundations were laid 1800 years back by our ancestors with infinite patience and sacrifice. I have come to ask you to reopen the channel of communication. This is way back in 1937. Let that happen. Let what seems a barrier become a path, not in spite of our differences, but through them. For differences can never be wiped away, and life would be so much poorer without them. Let all human races keep their own personalities and yet come together, not in a uniformity that is dead, but in a unity that is living. That's too long. Thank you. Sorry.